Hi, welcome to Get to the Point, where you can find answers to technical questions without listening to a whole bunch of blabber. In this video, we are going to demonstrate how to create a flow between Microsoft Planner and Excel. The purpose is to be able to pass your Planner tasks directly to a spreadsheet in Excel. Why do this? Because Planner has certain limitations. You cannot add custom fields, you cannot not add a whole bunch of calculations and reports. Therefore, it is convenient to be able to create a task here and pass it on to Excel. Now let's figure out how to automate that. The first thing that you do is you create a spreadsheet with these columns. You gotta have minimum, a title which represents the title of your task, the bucket in which your task is, like ideas, test bucket, scripts, a description which contains the comments section of the cards in Planner, the task ID, which is a hidden field in Planner, assigned to, created by, created date, start date, due date, and completed date. When you are in Planner, you can export your plan to Excel, and that will give you the complete list of fields available in Planner. However, not all fields are available to be written by a flow. Therefore, these fields that you see here, title, bucket, description, task ID, are the only ones that you can actually access through flow. Once you have created this spreadsheet, it's important that you make sure that this is in a table mode. So select the first few rows, including that, and convert that into a table mode. You can see this little blue icon here, and the blue bands is because it has been converted into a table design, and you can resize this table anytime by adding the developer tab into Excel. So once our table is ready, and once we have our plan for testing, we can create a few tasks and a few buckets. Then export this task so that you can capture the task ID and use them for testing here. So export that and then simply copy the task ID here and make sure that these fields are filled out with the information. So you may want to do 3 or 4 tasks. The next step is then to go into your flows and create something like this. You can start from a template that I have investigated, which I will provide at the end of this video. But very simply, you create a recurrence. So every minute it will run this flow. Then the first thing you're going to do is create a flow where you list the buckets from Planner. This is the icon from Planner. In my selection, I've selected to choose the flow test, which corresponds to that group right there. And then the plan ID, which corresponds to that group right here. Then you're going to also, so this will call all the buckets that you have in your plan. And this list will call all the tasks that are in those buckets. So we have step 1, step 2, step 3. Step 4 is where it becomes interesting. First, you're going to iterate the bucket. In other words, you add a condition that loops and looks at the buckets by inserting this value, body list buckets value. You simply select the fields here and find the value of the bucket in here, that value, body list buckets value. Then you iterate again, and this time you're going to iterate the tasks. Again, you look for body lists task value. So now you're going to go through every bucket in your plan to every task in your plan. In this iteration, you're going to put a condition. The condition is if the value of the ID in the bucket, so let me hover that so you can see items, iterate bucket ID is equal to the value of the bucket ID in iterate tasks. So you see, let me repeat that. Iterate bucket ID is equal to iterate tasks bucket ID. So this is looking to make sure that this bucket, that this task is equal to this bucket. If it is, then we are going to do this. We're going to ignore the number 2, but we're going to do this. First, get the task details. And you simply select the planner, action, get the task ID mapped to iterate tasks ID. Then you do a list row present in table for Excel. This has to be Excel for Business Online. You select your location. In my case is OneDrive, and then I've selected the XLS file called Flow3, and the title list corresponds to the table in my Excel. So Name Manager will show you that there's a titles list that maps to my table, and that goes right here, table. Then you expand the advanced options, and you're going to create a filter query. You're going to manually type task ID equals, make sure you don't miss the little apostrophe. Then you're going to put in the value ID by selecting the column here and selecting this, which is items iterate task IDs question mark ID, which is done by selecting the value ID from iterate tasks. So if you look at list tasks here, there's a value ID, this one, right? So make sure you don't miss that. List tasks, get task details, list task details, and list buckets, iterate tasks. So the one you want is value ID. One quick way to do it is just type the word ID, and it will show you all the ones that have the word ID on it. So you want this one, value ID, the ID of the task, right? Let's move on. So that once it's done, we're gonna close that. So it will show now a second condition. This is where it becomes interesting. We were here, now we're gonna create a second condition. We're gonna create a simple expression that says the following. If the list rows present in a table value is equal to 0, then do this. If it's not, then do that. So let me repeat that. You're going to create an expression here that says length, body, list rows present in a table, which is exactly the same words up here. And then you're going to end that expression with a parenthesis, question mark, bracket in value, and then close the parenthesis, just like it's shown here. Once that is done, you set the condition equal to 0. So what happens is when this condition is true, it will add a row into the table. In other words, it found that a task was created in the planner, but it does not have an ID yet in the table in Excel. So again, look for your OneDrive business, look for the same table, titles list, and now you're going to map your fields in Excel to the fields in Planner, and make sure you always select Planner. Don't select Excel. It's very easy to get confused. So value title here corresponds to the title in Planner. Again, you click here, you type here the word title, and it will show you the value title of the task. Same thing for value name. You click here, you type name, and then it will show you the value of that bucket there, value name. And then the description, again, type description, and it will show you the description of the task. So you map this, leave these other ones alone for now, right? On the other side, on the no answer, if the condition is no, in other words, the task does have a value on the task ID value, we're going to loop this by looking at this value, at the list of row present in table value, and then add the update a row function, which will basically allow you to map your table and your key column to the task ID. Task ID corresponds to my task, let me close this, to my task right here. Task ID is this field. So make sure you select key column task ID, and then, oops, let me click on that again. the title, bring in the title, the bucket, the description, and then again, the task ID, value ID. So you here are telling Flow that the key column is task ID, the key value maps to your Excel task ID. You bring from Planner the title, the name, the description, and the value. Back again into task ID. And that's it. You save it, you flow check it, and you test it. Let's see how this works. I'm going to close this here. I'm going to close this here, close that, and I'm going to minimize that so you can see all the steps collapse down. All right. One more collapse. 4 steps. That's it. Now, if we go back here and we run our flow, it will do that. But it's running right now because it's iterating every minute. So all I have to do, I'm going to bring up my Excel so you can see how magic happens. In my flow planner here, I have, for example, in the ideas bucket, I have idea task 1, change ideas bucket. So if I look at that, and you look at the ideas bucket, ideas task 1 belongs to number 8. I'm going to change this, and I'm going to say, this is the new title. This is the new title. And I'm also going to change, this is the description column. Okay, and I'm going to close that. Now, my task has been updated, which means in about a minute, this one should change. So let's see, the task is running. Let's refresh that. And if you click on the task, it will tell you where it is. It hasn't quite gotten to it. And we should see it reflect here in a few seconds. You run flow successfully, iterate bucket. And if you click here, you will see, what happened to iterate bucket in the first one. You see what happened in the next one. And it will tell you if any errors occurred. If condition 2 failed, for example, right? The execution of the is skipped because it was not satisfied. So in this run, it didn't find it. But look over here. Let's see. It is skipped and it's skipped. So let's go back here and rerun our flow. It's running again. We're waiting a few minutes while this runs. To kind of force it a little, I'm going to create a new task. This is a new task. Okay, it says that it runs successfully. Let's verify what happened. So we check here. The first condition is false. Now there's 10 tasks. So it successfully found the new tasks and it should have added it here. New tasks on button. There we go, right? It has been added. This is the new task and ideas. Now, if I go and I say this is the new task and I change that, changing the new task title to demo how flow works. All right, let's click here. Let's wait a few seconds. And this is a new task to change for us magically. So let's just wait a few seconds until it does. Keep watching on that line, it will change. Oh, there it is, change the new task. I'm going to expand this to see how it works. Now, so far I have not been able to find a way to enter a new task in Excel and have it reflect in Planner. This is because Planner generates the task IDs. I cannot manually generate the task ID and give it to Planner. That's a shortcoming that is really painful. I wish there was a bidirectional sync function like in OneDrive. Well, that's everything for tonight, folks. I hope this is useful. It helps you do your work and empowers you to do more. Thank you. Bye-bye.